Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Melf's Musings. I'm going to give my random thoughts on a lot of Sega related stuff that most people probably don't care about, and those who do probably don't remember half of the stuff to which I'm going to refer. But anyway, it doesn't matter because I want to share my thoughts on the recent news of Sega having a bit of a downturn. Well, I guess that's putting it mildly. I guess that's like saying that ISIS is kind of miffed at the West or something like that. Sega's been going through some really bad times lately, and Sega of America's downsizing. We all read the reports already of the problems, financial problems that Sega is suffering. And a lot of people have been wondering, speculating, contemplating, pondering, what should Sega do with its franchises? And I've read and heard all kinds of comments and all kinds of thoughts about the potential avenues that Sega could go down with its different series and characters that would hopefully turn things around. And while as a Sega fan, a lifelong Sega fan, that would be very, very nice to see. Realistically, well, I don't know. Sometimes these things don't really work out as well as planned. I don't know. There just doesn't seem to be much left there, much meat left on the bone. I mean, Sega has tried in the past to revive its different franchises, and those haven't really turned out all that well for the most part. I mean, remember the Altered Beast games? Altered Beast, Defender of the Realm, I believe it was, on the Game Boy Advance. That was not a very good game. Project Altered Beast was so great that it never came over to the US. I don't know. Everyone remembers Golden Axe Beast Rider on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, how bad that was. So bad that the studio that made it no longer exists. But, you know, if we're going to talk about potential things that Sega could do, things we as fans would like Sega to do, things we'd like to be seen done, I'll play along. I mean, hey, it's free to dream, right? Now, mind you, I haven't mapped any of this out. I haven't thought, very hard really, or pondered or sat down and made a list of what I would do if I were the president of Sega or anything that deep or profound or ridiculous. I'm just talking as a fan here. One thing I would say that I would really like to see, one of the things that has really bothered me as a Sega fan is the direction that's been taken with the Shining series. I would really, really like to see this series return to its roots. Now, I don't have a problem with the games being different styles. Anyone who's familiar with the series knows that you had first-person perspective dungeon crawlers, you had strategy games, you had all kinds of action games like Shining Wisdom. That is not a problem for me. Different styles of gameplay is fine. The problem I have is that the later Shining games, they drifted away from what made the Shining games so cool in the first place, and that was the fact that they were all part of a connected universe. I would really like to see these games come back to that. And I'm thinking Sega's best bet right now, given its complete dearth of RPG developers, would probably to hand the series over to Atlas. Atlas has really been cooking with gas, firing on all cylinders when it comes to RPGs over the last generation or so, and I think that Atlas could probably do the best job. I'm not going to say they would do it, conclusively, but I think that they would probably do the best job of bringing the Shining series back to any semblance of its former glory, and I would really like to see them get a shot at it. Sonic the Hedgehog? A moment of silence, please. Sonic the Hedgehog. What can be done with Sonic the Hedgehog? We saw how the last game turned out, Sonic Boom. I think Sonic's on life support right now. And I think its only hope would either to reunite the core members of the original Genesis Sonic teams, or at least the guys who made Sonic Adventure. Hell, the guys who made Sonic Generations, get all of them back together and try to make something along those lines. That's really about it. I can't think of anything else at this point that can be done with Sonic. Sonic, the goodwill and prestige that franchise had is just so worn out and gone that I really don't think anything short of going back completely, as in completely finding the guys, dragging Yuji Naka, Oshima, and Yasuhara and all those guys back and sitting them in a room with guns pointed at them and not letting them leave until, or eat, or sleep until they made a game, that at least resembled, and not Sonic the Hedgehog 4. That doesn't count. But unless you can do something to that extent, which is about as likely as or me winning the lottery because I used the Force to pick the right number, it's not going to happen. Something else that I would like to see would be Riko Kodama. I hope I said her name right. The first lady of RPGs, who was a major player in the Phantasy Star series and Skies of Arcadia. I would like to see her come back and do something. Hell, at this point, I'd like to see her come back and do something, period. It doesn't even have to be for Sega. But I would really like to see her come back, make a sequel to Skies of Arcadia, an anniversary edition with upgraded graphics to Skies of Arcadia. I mean, obviously, the fact that the game goes for so much money on the Dreamcast and now on the GameCube shows that people are still interested in the series. So do something. Get her involved. Get her back, please. We can tell already that a lot of these developers are going to move ahead on their own without Sega. I mean, just take a look at Toe Jam and Earl. A fourth game, Back in the Groove, is coming out pretty soon, or at least in a year or two. And they've gone ahead and made the game without Sega. Greg Johnson and Mark Vorsanger, the creators, own the rights, so they don't need Sega. But who doesn't think of Sega when you think of Toe Jam and Earl? And this is going to be the first one in the ever made that I can recall that has no ties to Sega at all. And it's unfortunate that that's the way things turned out. It's unfortunate that that's the way the game had to be made. That was the only way the game had to be made. Everyone wanted to see Toe Jam and Earl in both of the Sonic All-Stars racing games, and that didn't work out. So I guess we should be happy that at least Toe Jam and Earl is going to be made, another one, and that is being made on the developers and not the publisher's terms. But that's an example of people saying, I don't think Sega's going to be doing anything with this, so I'm going ahead on my own. I do have to give Sega credit, though. If you look at the 3D Classics line on the 3DS, anyone who owns a 3DS and is a Sega fan should own these games. I mean, they're awesome. Galaxy Force, Fantasy Zone, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff there. I would like to see them do more with that. Give me Power Drift. Give me Scud Racer. Give me Sega Rally. Give me something give me something, that takes advantage of the portability and the 3D feature, and that I can get on the eShop for a low price. And considering the price of these games, the amount of features they pack in is just awesome. So I would really like to see more of those. Probably Sega could use that as an avenue to explore some of those arcade hits or arcade titles that never made it home. How about Virtua Cop? We use the stylus as the light gun. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. But something. I don't have to mention Phantasy Star Online 2. I think I already mentioned that in the previous Melf's Musings. We're still waiting for it, and Sega still has the nerve to say that it's coming. They're thinking about it. It's been 2 years. It's not going to come out, and that's a shame, because I bet every single Phantasy Star fan, or at least those who love Phantasy Star Online, is foaming at the mouth waiting for this. More of the diehard ones have already just went to Sega and just went ahead and got the Japanese version, did the workarounds, and they're playing it happily on their PCs. And that's money lost for Sega of America due to their own stupidity. So, to close, I honestly think that maybe the window's closed. Maybe too much time has passed. Sega of America has no money. They're downsizing. Sega of America, in reality, doesn't really exist. They've actually gone back to being what they were before the Genesis came out, which was a small outfit that localized Japanese software. That's it. That's all they're really doing. They don't really market anything. The only big Western title Sega of America has had in the U.S. over the last year was Alien Isolation, and I don't think that was done in the U.S. I think that was European. I may be mistaken. Please let me know in the comments if I am. But the point is that Sega of America is no longer a major player in the company's game releases. Moreover, other companies are already doing what Sega used to do, and they're doing it better. Atlus with its RPGs, Nipponichi with its RPGs. There are just sports games. Nobody thinks of Sega anymore when it comes to sports games. So Sega may have actually passed into another chapter in game history, the way we look at Atari, the way we look at companies that were really big at one time but have faded away and will never return. And that would be unfortunate. That would be something I would not like to see happen, but it may already be too late. So please tell me what you think. Remember to like, subscribe, favorite the video, and head over to Sega16.com and check out our reviews, features, and interviews. Head over to the forum and join the community. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and until next time, take care.